Howdy folks, today I'm gonna do an install WordPerfect 6 in Caldera's Open Linux 2.2. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and fans from around the world, are you ready? Let's get ready to install some WordPerfect. Let's get ready to get this thing to print, okay? Now, Open Linux 2.2 is the people that made SCO, and they generally were also the owners of, what is it? Oh, yeah. Unix, and they've since sold it off and became XINOS, but I digress. So let's start this install, shall we? Now, I've already had success with this, and I just want to basically put this on camera to show how the hell I did this stuff, because it was kind of complicated, okay? Alright, so let's get going. I got the virtual CD for Open Linux 2.2 in there, and I'm going to go ahead and unless this is booting my old system, for me this would be a very, very short demonstration. I don't think so. So we're gonna keep going. Meanwhile, I'm working on getting this stuff running in a little bit newer of a kernel. This is kernel 2.2. I'm doing that. Sounds sophisticated. 2.2.5. There is no package for IBCS for Open Linux. Caldera Open Linux 2.2. And it gets kind of cheesy. But and actually, I thought their products were better in 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 for a number of reasons. Alright, Caldera, let's get moving here. So I'm going to do the install from the beginning. And it could be kind of tough. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to eventually even go back and do all this in Caldera Open Linux 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. Kind of jump the wheel here. Now, one nice thing it does, it actually, unlike 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, 1.1 and 1.2, it's able to detect my mouse is a PS2 mouse. Now, to go over this stuff, in fact, I should start out by saying what kind of virtual hardware am I using in my virtual machine. Let's go over that. Set it up as Linux 2.2, even though, well, yeah, this is Linux 2.2. System, I've got a half a gig of RAM. Processor 1, acceleration's on. I have 128 megabytes of video RAM, and I got the scale factor to 200, and you'll end up seeing why. And I keep it there, and you'll end up seeing why. Storage, I've got why would I only have a 2 gigabyte? 2 gigabyte, yeah, not megabytes. 2 gigabyte hard drive. Audio, I don't even know if it worked. I haven't tried. And the network card, which is going to be important for all the Caldera installations. I'm going to do the other ones, the early ones first. Because part of the theme of this whole thing is the trot. Things that used to work doesn't work so well anymore. Things fall apart. But in 1.3, you have to use this PCNet, PCI. Well, I don't think you have to. I've tested it out. So if you want something that's going to work, you use the PCNet, PCI2 driver. Just so you know, if you happen to try Caldera 1.3, it loads the wrong driver. You have to remove that module, and you have to mod probe the PCNet 32 driver, and then networking will work. That's really the main stuff you need to know. Okay, but for this, the network card's going to work without a problem. I'm going to try, unlike on my first occasion, to set up the printer with the graphical user interface. But if it doesn't offer me that, I'll show. There's couple potential showstopper. In fact, for most people, it's a showstopper for a lot of things, and I'm going to end up resolving here, and hopefully it'll be helpful. So if you know someone that needs to run an old version of WordPerfect for whatever reason, actually 2 versions of them, and this also comes with WordPerfect 8, by the way, just out of the box. But if they, for some reason, there is file compatibility between 6 and 8, I believe. But if for some reason they just have to run 6, this is how you do it. There's probably 2 people in the world and one person. The other person that wants to do this probably doesn't have internet, but it's just me and that other person that have this interest in this thing. But anyway, so the mouse works right away. Let's go to the next step. And it says, I'm going to use the entire disk. It won't say prepare partitions if you just made yourself a disk in VirtualBox. There are people out there that will tell you how to set up virtual machines. The gist of it is, and I'll go over that real quickly before I digress and this thing just goes to hell. When you create your new machine, it offers to make a hard disk, and but if you want to get this memory right, you have to adjust it here after you get it set up. And the network, I always use bridge adapter. It's the only thing There's the only thing that's ever actually worked for me. Okay, you have to change it to that. Basically, I don't know if you need to change the brand of this thing, but everything else should be okay. I wouldn't try upping the processors or anything. This thing came out in '99, I believe, around that time. But I could see that the quality of their product started to go downhill. So just so you know, when you set it up, setting up means new. You put in the name. You make sure you pick 2.2. It's not that hard to do, but I'll just mention it right there. So I'm going to use the entire hard disk. I'm going to prepare the disk for Linux, which means format. But they're not telling you that. Oh, I thought I was just preparing it, just kind of prepping it up and not really, Now let's see if I actually doesn't give you any. Now I'm going to go with all the packages, all of them, and I assume that the commercial packages. You don't have to, but it doesn't take that long. Now this operating system is using. There's no guest editions. Sorry. It's using the drivers or whatever extent of drivers VirtualBox is providing this infrastructure. Now, if you got something fancy like Virtual PC, well, fancy pants, you don't need to worry about it. But there's no. VirtualBox does it with guest editions. Anyway, we'll deal with it. Okay, keyboard's fine. Now this, it doesn't matter what the hell you do here. I probe. It's wow, everything's just fine. Whatever. The probing doesn't seem to pretty much do anything, and it never mattered. In the earlier versions, it didn't probe for nothing. I guess I'll go. Well, yeah, I'd go with the probing, and I'll go with this 1280 and the horizontal sync and all that good stuff. But basically, here's where it screws you. Because in 1.3 was the first installation of Caldera. I've just done this, but I haven't really had it on YouTube yet. It was the first installation of Caldera that actually asked you what modes you want to use. Okay. And basically in 1.3, when I skipped doing a mode setting, the graphics were bearable. This is going to make things more difficult, and there's nothing I can do about it. So eventually when I get into the system, I'm going to have to do a little trick to get myself out of the graphical user interface, get into the x86 setup, and set up x86 the way I want to, the way I know it's going to work with this hardware. I'm not promising anything about sound. What I'm talking about is I'm going to get WordPerfect working here. There's a lot to it, so we got to get moving. Okay, don't be. All right, let's give it a root password. And I think it's kind of already installed everything. I'll just go with my name. That seems reasonable, right? I'll stick with bash. The other ones are really pretty much a pain in the ass to use. Add the user. Alright. And this does not detect your shit correctly or automatically. It just assumes everybody in the world has a subnet with the 1 there. I don't have a 1 in my subnet. Okay. So I'll just go with this. This is for the local area network. If you're in a LAN, well, you don't need help with this stuff. Name server, I always use Google's. 4 8s, kind of cool. Not 08. And I hope it offers to set up a printer, because this is actually, and I'll stick with this, no name domain name, because I'm not going on the internet. And of course, I happen to be in California. I'm a Californian. And it did not offer to let me set up a printer. which can be remedied easily. The cool thing about it is when you've got a system that your print system could be set up just by copying one print file. All you gotta do is actually bring the print file into the system. Now, this is pretty bad. You just log in. You don't give up here. I mean, you can't even see what's there. There's actually, it offers you to go to either KDE or failsafe, which is not much better than KDE. And I'm going to rule as root because I'm just fancy like that. Now, this startup wizard is fucking annoying. I'm just going to try to get that out of the way. And I think there's execute command. Now, how are we going to get out of this situation? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've got nothing up my sleeves. Get out of here, kid, you bother me. Alright, so now we've got what we always wanted, I hope. It was supposed to. You also see this had a network. It still had a network client in it. Just built into it. And I might have to reboot. I seem to remember having to do this. And why does it say pause? I didn't ask to pause. I asked to reset. At least I thought I did. I'm still going to get stuck within... Oh. I don't want to boot from the CD, so I have to go into settings here. And I'm going to remove the CD from drive. You know, boot it up. Do something like that. The enter button. Use cheesy graphics. Yes. Disk was not cleanly unmounted, but we're going to live. It's going to tell me all the stuff it didn't do for me. It's alright. Go back in this route. I hope I don't go in a circle forever. Now, if you have trouble seeing, this may be beneficial for you, but I am... What's supposed to happen, I'm doing it 3 here, ask me, oh, there we go, that's what we wanted. Be able to log in. And of course, that's all screwed up. Okay, let's try this again. And do we want to start X? Do we? Anyone? Bueller? not the way they suggest it. So XF6 setup. You would have to, this is one thing. I could say this will work. And I do not want to use it because it'll just barf out if you try to. Press enter to go into full graphics mode. Alright, it's a little more difficult in the early versions of Caldera, but basically I think this one's going to detect the mouse correctly. And it does. So get the mouse, let's see, the keyboard is fine. The card, there's a secret, especially for VirtualBox. You can bang your head against the wall trying this shit for the end of life, but the secret really isn't that much of a secret. You pick the generic, and I keep passing it. At least for now. If someone finds a better one, that's great. But I'm going with the generic VGA compatible, okay? Because I know it works. And the monitor, I am going to go with the high frequency. Mode selection, I'm going to pass on that. And then I'm going to say, I don't know why I go to other, just say done. Okay. And then it's going to try to start the X server. Attempting to start the X server. It did it. Not too shabby. Not too shabby, lover. We're going to wait. It's going to try to say, do you want to use VDI tune? You're going to say, fuck no. And you're just going to save that configuration. And go ahead and say yes to this. Let's clear the string because we don't like ncurses. Ncurses is ugly and below us. No, it's not really, but okay, now let's try start X. And that was stupid because nothing happens when you do start X. And that's another thing you don't really need with this Caldera. I'm just going to reset the machine. I should have done KDE. That message is a remnant left over from 1.3. I swear to God. Now, our next goal is going to be to get a printer working in this system. So that way, after we get WordPerfect set up, and we will do that. Oh, yes, we will. It's a lot better. Now it already has WordPerfect, but we're going to get another one in there because we want to have more than one. I mean, and maybe if we're feeling really just like gluttons, well, we can have 3 of them in there if we want. We could have 4 of them in there if we want, but we're just going to do 6 today. All right, so how are we going to get a printer in this damn thing? Now, when I go down here, the COAS, and it offers you a printer. You say okay, and you have cancel or okay. So you pick okay, and it does nothing. Are we done? Have the printer set up? No. That's going to be one of the lamest printer wizards I've ever seen in my life. And I got a better wizard. I got a much better wizard than that. And I got basically a bunch of files here that I'm going to open. And a lot of them I'd actually used afterwards. Okay, so now I put the virtual CD, where'd it go? How come it didn't mount? How come the little KDE message didn't come up and say that you have a CD mounted? That's not the way we used to do things in the last century. Okay, in the last century, we used to mount our CDs and we loved it. All right, so what did that do? Nothing, actually. I have to mount first. How do I know that's going to work? Well, Caldera did take the time to set that up in the file system tab, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at file system tab, but that's probably where it would be for a distribution of this age. All right, so I've mounted it. Now I got to change to that CD. Okay, let's install our printer, and let's look and see what the printer driver says. Let's see what we got here. Let's go to etc. Up. And see that thing called print cap? That's our printer driver. Let's look and see what it says. That's what it says. Where's all the stuff? Well, who cares? I want to print. I don't want to wonder where things are. Okay. That's fine, you say. Prove it. Works. Okay. I will. You're going to make me. Oh, I hear some noise. What's that? Is that a printer? Yeah, wow, that's a printer. Well, you ask, when was that printer made? That printer was, oh, it didn't come out all that great. Not the best printout, but it worked. I mean, it has these Unix lines divided, all scattered and stuff. But we'll have choices of printer drivers when we do Word. What? Yeah, we're going to do Word Perfect. Now, first, also, we're going to go back into where am I at? Yeah. What else we got in here? We've got something called conf.modules. So I'm going to copy that into etc. That's actually a directory called default. I'll do it like ls-l. Anything at size 2048 is a directory. Now, this I didn't get this completely right. There's an annoying message about locales that you actually never see, but I'm going to copy that anyway. There's no default directory. It's our default. I'll move that to etc. But also, I'm just going to display the modules.conf file. And this one actually didn't change, so I don't need to do that. Didn't need to do it. Not going to do it. Okay, let's look at this again. Right, L is a better way to show it. There's a modules directory, and in that are some modules that I end up adding as a result of compiling the kernel. We're going to compile the kernel today, okay? CD modules. CD 2.2.5. I could have done a CP minus R, but okay. So Caldera comes with a default, and because we're in VirtualBox, this is safer to do if you're in hard metal. All these virtual boxes are going to need the same stuff. And actually, you know what? I don't think that changed either, because I ended up having to load the modules. Sorry. Through RCD. So I'm going to leave this alone, actually. I am not going to copy that. Ls minus L is better. And instead, I'm going to go into the RCD, because I already copied the print cap. Now, I'm going to talk about the RCD system back in the old days, the way things used to start. is after the kernel would be given control of the system from the BIOS, the kernel would load the drivers and then would look for init scripts, which were bash shell scripts, either in RCD or initd. That even varied among Linux distributions, still kind of does to this day. Debian used a different thing than SUSE. And since I'm a SUSE freak, I'm going to say it's better, even though the Debian people they are actually good people, but you got to pick on them once in a while. Okay, so here is the contents. And basically, this should be an rc.local, which I'll concatenate. And these two drivers right here, IBCS and devtrace, which were important. Devtrace probably you won't need. You might as well do it. This makes sure basically at every reboot those two things get loaded. And the IBCS is necessary to run WordPerfect. Devtrace it'll send a few messages to the message log that's in Verilog. If you try to execute a program and it'll say there's a binary format and some weird number that the kernel doesn't know what to do with. That means there's some part of your code that the kernel knows is not a Linux binary, it can't execute it, and it can't associate it with anything else. And on that modules.conf file that I didn't concatenate, there's a listing of associations between those weird BIN format numbers and the IBCS module. Alright, so I am going to copy this because there's nothing else really in RC local. Not much else. So I'm going to, okay, I'm actually RC.local to etc. RCD. No separate thing. Okay, and I'm going to back out of this. Now, you need to have the drivers loaded before you start doing WordPerfect. So I'm going to get the kernel compiled, then I'll come in and do WordPerfect. And I already got a basic printer going. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the root directory, and I'm also going to... a couple things in there that are important to do. And they have to do with the icon and the ability for the program to run, and there's one thing that's really, really important. So Caldera, whatever they did their magic. Okay. In 2.2, it took me days, by luck I tried the right display variable. Basically, the display variables, and it's not the normal thing. Usually they say xhost localhost, or you have to put 127.0.0.1. I haven't seen anybody talking about IBCS compatibility anywhere saying you have to have 127.0.0.1 in there. :0.0, actually. Let me go back into that, etc. I'm going to concatenate the modules that I copied. Oh, it's conf modules. Did I forget to do that one? No. I'm supposed to have on this thing, yeah, conf modules. I forgot to copy that. I'm going to concatenate that. I'm glad I remembered. These are it. You have to have, and for some reason back in these days, if you try to add this to modules.conf, your modules, the only module that will load will be IPX, and none of the other modules will load. I did some poking around. I think this loads this. So basically, the kernel detects some binary format for your app, and WordPerfect's going to get installed as a as a stack. I'm also not going to promise it's going to install correctly, and I may have to resort to copying in a copy, in which I'll set up a quick and dirty Samba share to copy in the program if it doesn't install. But you may have to resort to just doing the terminal install. But there's something broken, or was, I don't know. All this stuff may have ended up fixing it, and I'll be very happy if that's the case. But anyway, did I even copy that thing? Okay, so copy to etc. So I copied conf modules. I've copied the list of modules that actually didn't have to do that because RCD took care of that. Didn't copy modules.conf, copied in the print cap. So basically there's an RC local to copy in. There is the default attempt to get rid of a language warning that comes with, and there's one other thing I have to do in the root directory, but I'm not there yet. And then the conf modules. Okay, so let's go out, the root, minus L, and there actually is a hidden file here, and I'm really wondering why it isn't showing that. It's called bashrc. I'm going to concatenate that first. And here's the magic potion for to get WordPerfect 52 to not complain about not having a terminal to run. You would have to type these two lines into the shell every time before you started WordPerfect. This xhost plus gives the X user permission to open up the display or even change it. And this magic incantation here, display equals 127.0.0.1:0.0. 0.0 is the display number, 127.0.0.1 is the IP address for every computer in the world as local host. Every computer in the world, even if you're not connected to a network anywhere, still has a network IP number of 127.0.0.1. It's non-routable outside of your own system, actually. This exports the display, and this allows your thing to work. So I am going to copy that definitely into my root directory, and by putting it in the bashrc file, that causes when you start bash up for these settings to load. So when you try to go to WordPerfect, it runs correctly. Oh, why am I catting it? I'm copying it. Okay, then we got a couple of things we're going to go on over here. This xwp6.sh is me getting the xwp6 program to actually launch the icon that I've created and put it on the desktop. Just cat this, and for whatever reason, it doesn't take any of the settings from the bashrc, and also displays an annoying message that now everybody has control. So I send the message to dev null, which is nowhere, and then it starts WordPerfect. So I'm going to copy this to root, and yeah, I'm going to roll as root. So sue me. Next is I'm going to change the desktop directory. I'm going to put that KDE link on the desktop. Now I just got to compile the kernel. Unmount the CD. In fact, it's umount, not unmount. And why is that? Because I'm in there. I'll change my home directory and we'll unmount the CD. Now release the CD. Oh yeah, and you won't have, you got to know what the host key is on your VirtualBox. Usually it's something like Control-Shift-F or Control-F. I changed that. In mine, you have to push both Shift keys down, then the F, and then it releases the mouse. You find out that information up here in Preferences, but you want to find it out before you go into your virtual machine. And the host key, mine is left shift and right shift. ACB shutdown would be left shift, right shift, and H. All right. Go back and look at that again if you didn't understand it. They're key combinations. Okay. So we've got all this stuff, and now I'm going to put in my next magical optical device. This was fun. I had to get parts of the source from a source RPM from Red Hat, and parts of the source I had to get from a Debian deb file, and then I had to figure out how to extract both of them. I managed to do that, and I had to figure out where to put the stuff. I managed to do that, and and then I compiled it, then it had a undefined reference, so I had to kind of figure out what that was, and I changed some code, didn't really realize, because I don't know really how to code. It told me what, I searched for the variable in the file and with grep, and there was only one of them, and so I got lucky. I don't even know what effect my change had, except that it makes the damn thing run. Alright, so these are, I'm going to call this the source. And I'm going to mount that. Now, if you know what you're doing, at the end of the day, when you know what you're doing, especially in Unix, when you're setting stuff up, you're going to be in the terminal an awful lot. Would be very efficient. And how do you mount a CD in the graphic user interface? And this product ended up not being very good because a lot of people couldn't use it, even though it was very usable. You kind of had to be knowledgeable to use it. And so, anyway, the criticism of this, it tried to be user friendly, but it just always fell short. Like the printer tool, or how do you mount a CD? And people just, I just got junk on this computer, but I can use WordPerfect, but I can't print. So it's probably one of the reasons why Caldera didn't succeed. They had a better look to them. They supported the KD desktop, but no distribution really has ever really got everything together and got it right completely. Don't go after me, Ubuntu people. They got close, but anyway. It switches, and anyway, let's just apply it to this thing. So I shouldn't go that far. Basically, right here and right now, yeah, I'm not here to criticize. I'm here to get WordPerfect 6 to run. So, I mounted the CD-ROM. Let's go take a look at what's in there. Alrighty then. And we got a config SPA. It's supposed to be Spark, which makes me think this may not have the long names that I want. I'm going to redo my ISO image so you guys get to see how I do that magic. I gotta make sure that stuff's cleared out though. Okay. That's the patch. Yeah, I really don't need this Debian stuff. I don't care about this. Yeah, it's kind of some documentation. Get rid of that. Post install isn't really important. I'm going to remake the CD, so I'm just going to clean up some shit. Thank you very much. I don't care about these rules. It's just Debian stuff to make sure their installer works. They're probably scared away half their developers that way. Oh, yeah, I'll call this Debian docs. How about that? Someone might be interested in that. DevTrace is another module. I'll just go over this. So DevTrace is a module that loads, and there'll be, out of all this stuff, at the end of the day, there's going to be one module called IBCS. These are the headers. Include our headers. This config file isn't what originally happened, and I'm going to be an ass, and I'm going to assume that you want to config this for the i386. This is basically a copy of that that's renamed. All right, let's okay. So this actually, and what do I want to call this stuff? Okay. So I'm going to change directory into, gosh darn it. I'm just going to put all this stuff actually in a directory I'm going to call 4. All right. That's stuff I'm going to need. And it's got a combination of, I think the includes, just so you know, the includes came from Red Hat. The source came from Debian. All right. And that sucker. And this is actually the disk I had inserted. Get rid of it. All right. And it gave you all this crap because the standard as it was written for ISO was to truncate files to death. This is not what we want. And gen ISO image minus F minus J, Juliet long, or allow lowercase, allow multi-dot. Make a CD image called ISO and get that shit out of directory number 4. And because I haven't changed directories yet, this is far too early. So you go CD IB or 22. Sorry, just get in there. Okay, is that where it is? It is where it is. It is what it is. That is where it is. And we just made our thing. There it is. I'll open up the ISO. There it is. I'm going to close this. Isotonal is pretty good. Mount that image. I mean, it's almost close to what you can do in Windows. Windows, they don't ask you, do you want to unmount the image and keep a history and keep an app open at the bottom, but it does just about what Windows Auto Mounter does. All right, so there's my IBS source. Let's go back in here. I've explained where I got that shit from. Okay, so now we're going to do it. And there's a patch. I'm actually going to want to patch after I move this stuff. So now we're going to mount the CD-ROM. I probably shouldn't have done. Click my mouse on there to release it. No big deal though. Mount CD-ROM. This will take a while because you have to compile these drivers basically. And CD. Let's see where this stuff goes. CD-ROM. LS. Alright, now let's just look at the file structure. And I am going to go a little bit more. In fact, it was okay. So I've installed everything, including the kernel source, and the kernel source is always at user source Linux. And in fact, I am going to just take a look at the virtual CD. All right, so here's include in the source directory. There's include in the source directory. Now, I don't remember exactly where the hell I put this thing, but I think it just goes right in here. And you gotta be root to do this. So I'm gonna copy. And yeah, if you don't have the right, it'll truncate it. Now, why am I not just using Samba? Well, I could, but I don't want to waste my time with that. All right, so I got those are the headers. I got the headers in place, and the source code gets some code from the headers actually, and basically the source code will just have the name of those headers in them, and some of the stuff that's in the source code will actually refer to the header stuff. All right, now, and I'll know quickly if I need to move that, and then you'll see me move it. So I'm claiming to be perfect. So we got user source Linux. Let's go up. So included all the headers. Then we got modules, and that is rather empty. And so we're going to populate this with good stuff, good source code, and the dev trace with good source code, and our config file, which is not a symlink, but the actual i386. All right, so I'm going to unmount this CD because I seem to remember that I have a patch. And I'll explain how patches work. And how to make the patches, there's a program called diff. Basically, if you have two files, one that was changed and one's the original, usually just rename that first file as .arig, then you make a copy of it with the name you want to use. Then you modify the copy with the name you're going to use for the file, the original name for the file. Then when you're done, you just type diff space minus NAUR, name of the original file, which got .arig on it, and the name of the file that you've modified, space, and then an arrow, and then name of file .patch instead of .arig. And that's your patch. Patching, you just put the patch in the directory where it's supposed to go, and I think you type patch and name your patch file, because the contents of the patch file say which files were changed. So you want to keep the original name of the file as it was. Okay, did I unmount that? So as far as I know, I didn't copy the Debian info in because I'm a brat like that. All right, so I've unmounted that. Let's release this mouse first on the device. I probably should just patch the damn thing and not make people patch this, because the more you do for other people, the better it is. But I just got this done. So there's my patch. And if someone wants to learn how to patch, they can learn how to patch too. So let's mount this son of a bitch. And let's go over there. I'm using the up arrow to call what I've done before. Isn't that nice? And let's see what we got here. It's called patch bin format underscore libc patch. Guess where that goes? Right, that goes in, and I'm just going to actually move that by site. And I'm confused as to whether this is actually a minimizer or not. So, rar. This would be the directory I put the patch file in. Alrighty then. And there should be a file called bin format libc. There it is. I might not have remembered the patch commands, so just, don't laugh if I get it wrong, but I believe I just type patch. Let's even go over there. CD user source, and the Linux kernel historically has been and is still in user source Linux. Modules, there we go. And let's try this thing. Patch bin format lib c dot patch. Now, it wasn't that complicated, so why is it hanging like that? And I hope there isn't some old version of patch that I'm not liking that. Oh. Here's a problem. All the files are read-only because guess what? I got them off a CD image, and CDs are anyone read-only. And I don't remember. So that's why I didn't do anything, because I didn't have write access to that file. Okay, so and I give up. No, chmod. I think it's just or just 666 star. Okay, let's see if that did anything. Oh, well, we got read and write access. Oh, that's good. I like it. All right, so don't need execute because it's not code yet. And let's go into the maps directory. I anticipate this. There probably is a fancy way to hit the maps directory from here, but I don't feel like showing off all that much. All right, this should be read write. And what else did I bring in here? The config file. Now I'll go into dev trace. CD. Dev trace. And I'll show mode there. Let's make sure those suckers are writable too. Okay, they're writable too. Okay, and the patch is writable too. So now, let's go do our patch. It's taking too long, so I'm just going to do this by hand. I don't want to look up the thing. Basically, what patch says is at around line 37, you get rid of this stuff and you add this stuff, which basically all he did was get rid of this page size and max arg pages in both cases at line 37 and below it. So I'm just going to look for line 37. And where do I get line 37? How would I tell him at line? Do I have to count? Wow, those graphics are nice. It says what the line is. So around line 37. I'm basically going to shrink that down just a P. Can I get out of there? Thank you. All right, edit this thing. And that would be line 40, so that's weird, but anyway. Oh, because line 7 is like 37's there, you know what I mean? And then, and I kind of was guessing at my answer like Chris Farley on the Japanese game show, and I got lucky. Alright, so now, actually, believe it or not, we're getting ready to compile the driver. Actually, we're not really going to compile the kernel. We're too good for that. So we're going to make... Oh, and then saying, well, you don't got a config file. You don't got a config file. So we got to make one. And we get to see the cool from the old days, the way the kernel configuration used to look. And I'm going to save and exit that. And it says, you must make dep, and no, I will not make dep. I am a stubborn son of a bitch. So now we have a config file. Although that won't tell me, because this terminal is not, but I'm going to do cat.config. And oh my god, look at all those options. What magic. Alright, so now we're going to go into modules and into IBCS mule, emule, and we're going to make a couple warnings. We're not going to worry about warnings. And that means we're done. It's compiled. When it stops and there isn't a warning near there, that means it worked. I guess. Good enough for government work. Alright, so now what we're going to do is what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make install. And we're going to look and see where that ended up after doing the make install. Now the only thing it will not install that we're going to have to place manually is dev types, but of course we haven't compiled dev types yet. But the way you know your modules are in the right place, you go to lab modules, and I think it's going to show up under miscellaneous. IBCS. Now there's no .o there, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. And we'll close that. I might worry about it, but I'm probably not going to. Let's go cd to dev trace. Dev tracing. I'm going to clear this. Make. Got a warning, but I don't care. I wonder if they have a make install. I didn't do last time. Nothing to be done for install. So we're just going to go over there. Damn things in user source Linux. Love when they call it Linux. It's linu. There's dev trace. There's our module. There's our module. Gotta put it where it belongs. Right in the library directory under modules. 225. Miscellaneous. pop them in there. We're good to go. Close that sucker. Let's reboot. Exit that terminal. Actually, get a right click and go log out. And the whole thing will crash. Restart. Now, hopefully I haven't... Oh! One other thing I have to do. I got to run the make dev script. Now, I don't know if I included that in my little tool sets there. Now, good sign when everything says okay. There's one that will fail. That's PowerPort PC, and I don't care. Because we're not doing PowerPort PCs, we're doing WordPerfect. The next thing so the Linux ABI for that can run SCO compatible binaries and Xenix binaries and WISE binaries and all this other shit and Sun binaries. They also need to have some devices. And I don't know actually. Now the icons there doesn't mean it's installed. It's just there. I wonder if the scripts were in this. Let's take a look. No. 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 So there actually is a script, like a little utility. Not that son of a bitch. So, I'm missing, so I'm looking at the junk area. Let's see. No. 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 This is really ruining parts of a wonderful presentation. Extracted that damn thing. All they came up with. Yes, no, that's the patch. That's parts of my freaking no. No, no, no. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna cheat. Alright, so I gotta make another. Where the hell is that? In dev, right? That. This is a mounted disk image, by the way. Alright, where was I? I was somewhere. But where was that? I don't know. Okay, so I am gonna make this. Number one really didn't amount to much. Let's plonk it there. We're gonna go ba-da-ba, 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 ba-da-ba. And guess what I'm gonna do? That's right, I'm gonna make another ISO image. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna call this the make devs. And we're getting that stuff out of one. Good enough government work. Alright. Let's make sure that thing did the right thing with the thing it did. Yes, it did. Yes, indeedy. Yes, indoodle. I'll mount that. Alright. I'm going to close this son of a bitch. Alright. This guy's got to go in there. And Insert that freaking thing. And I'm glad I did this because I would have forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot this part. Read the manual. Yeah. All right. That's that's supposed to echo that. Hidden file. So I have an older version of this damn thing. Where is it? I don't want to. Or I should add that, so I'm going to make an ISO with my files. All right, let's get rid of this hidden stuff. Let's do mount. Sorry, mount. What did I just do? No, I'm not even. What? That's right. Okay, so it's going to copy this. Make dev to the dev directory. Then we're going to make it executable. Go to the dev directory. Right. That should have made everything I needed. Now theoretically, I should be able to run this thing. I may have to reboot. Let me look at the modules. I'm pretty sure it'll be okay. But, and there you go. Okay, I saw dev trace, and I should see the IBCS module. Maybe, yeah, I'll probably have to reboot, and I think I have to rename that ICBS to ICBS.O. Or mod probe won't work. That's what it was. Light modules to something. MISC. Okay. Yeah, there it is. So I'm just gonna move it, which is. That is an object file. I don't know why they didn't. All right, let's reboot this sucker. That's taken a decent amount of time to do, actually. Close this crap up. Now, the only thing I'll have to do once I start with Perfect 6 is set the printer. And I didn't set WordPerfect up yet. That's kind of important. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, that's part of the process, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, can't run without. Okay, so it's ready to be installed now. And in the box set, it happens to be disk number 4. What's behind disk number 4? Now, this may present some other problems with an attempt to install. I'm just going to say that. It will install cleanly in the other ones. I haven't tried it after all these fixes to get the stuff running, but the display literally will not. Well, it actually might work. We'll see. Permission denied. And where the hell's my IBCS module? Unresolved symbol. That's what I got before. Did I not change that? That's what I fixed with the patch. Yeah, I must have changed some other file and forgotten about it. Let me look and see if it's spelled the same way. STRLEN user. Oh my god. So built. Alright. That's why it didn't load. Why do I have this open twice? Alright. STR, okay, RLEN. And there's a post where at one point some guy said, "Oh, there's a minor change to our code." So we've got to go through the process again, making the modules. Okay, so where the fuck were we? Basically, I gotta remove this by hand. Make clean. It'll probably pave over the other one. I'd rather just do clean this. I gotta go back to the library modules. Yeah, I probably should have just looked up, taking the time to look at the instructions on the patch, but no. Dev trace is loaded and it doesn't link with it, so it doesn't really have a And it's done. Make install. Mod probe IBCS. No dependency. INS. That's what it was. I bet you if I... Nah, I'm gonna fuck with it. Okay, so it loaded, dev trace still loaded, right? But I think it was, that's why I had to change it. I think you do dep mod here. I'm going to do dep mod. A. No, give a fuck. So, then what you're doing with dep mod A, I'm pretty sure, let's reboot this son of a bitch. Right click on the desktop. Oh yeah, let's reboot. Because I didn't install it yet. Damn it. Ah. It freezes up there. I don't know why. LS mod. Hello. Earth to terminal. Command terminal. There it is. It's in there. All right. Let's mount the CD. Oh, because it's on. What? Should be executable. That's strange. directory. Did I just make it directory? I made the wrong directory. I should be copying all this stuff down there. That's done. Okay. I'm bottled. I don't get it. Okay, so let's do that. And it didn't do this last time. It failed last time. Now the set locales, that is predictable. So this is actually pretty good shape. Full and both. I'm going to put this over in. Oh yeah, if you use any of these tools, the set locale is fucking annoying. No, I don't want a pattern after nothing. I'm putting my license in there. So yeah, this is working just like it was working with Caldera 111213. So I'm pretty happy that the locale is annoying me. It is benign error, but I am pretty happy. That's just, okay. Go ahead. And it's a, well, you can't do that. Okay, fine. Whatever. Now this basically selects the consoles you're going to need. If I just go okay with that. And then it goes, what printer drivers do you want? And I'll be very happy to take pass-through PostScript. But if I have to, I'll go with the I'll use the yeah, I'm gonna do that. And you select this arrow to get it over there. Oh, wow. Okay, we're going to assign that. To make things easier. And then we're going to install this sucker. And before, actually in the other versions of Caldera, I had to close out this and it didn't go this far, actually. All right, well it did, but it didn't show some of that stuff. We're just gonna go, okay. Let's see if it does it for us. Which directory is your icon to appear? Ooh, let's see, home. And it doesn't have autocomplete here. Okay, well, we'll just go with all right, I've already set the WordPerf52 environment variable up. Let's exit this thing. All right, now the problem with this icon is you can't just put an icon there, actually. First of all, it's got the locale complaining, and if I had an example of what the locale file is supposed to look like from this era, and it's not, for some reason, it's not looking for locales in the older versions of Caldera, so I don't know why that is, but okay. There you go. Now I'll just make sure to do a test here. The fonts look beautiful. Not really, but and yeah, that's one to pick. There it goes. Now, it's kind of got this ugly shell script. I think I'm not sure if I can even close this. Am I out of paper? Well, that killed the job. Okay. Right, that's the only ugly thing about it. I guess I can go get the icon from the other system, plonk it here. But I have some things that are important that things depend upon. And, okay, so we've got... Setting up printing in this thing has been a real joy. There is something called Lisa. This thing's useless. The problem is that the graphics are so poor with Lisa. And then unlock isn't in there. Okay. Make sure that's the right number. It's supposed to be. Ooh. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So it doesn't really have any good tools for the system used to be better at doing that stuff. know what? I wonder if I could bring that one back, and it probably would work. That actually printed. No, changed. And they actually put it in the same place. I think it goes in here. You can't even sort it. It's in here. No. I should have paid attention to the file it made. Oh, you know what it is? It's not there. It's in my home directory. There it is. And maybe it's this. Oh, that's just a copy of for the install. It may even now be just fine with printing. It's making noise. Let's see if anything comes out. Yep. That's it. Close her up. So that's how you get a very old version of WordPerfect installed in a very old one that just kind of hangs for a while. That's the way it is.